is Renuka, and today I decided to make some Thanksgiving card. Here I am using the Spellbinders, my monthly club subscription for small, large die, as well as the stamp and coordinated dies for them. And I will use the Bristol Smooth White card paper, watercolor paper for the stamping my images, and I have the coordinated dies too with them. I also purchased an embossing folder of this month, and I will use the recollection cardstock in the different colors which will match the fall themes. I'm choosing watercolor paper here because I want to color them in the Zig watercolor markers. You can choose any medium you want and accordingly choose your white cardstock paper. So here are the simple techniques that first you die cut out in the white, and then you can stamp them on, and either way you can stamp the multiple images or the multiple times the same stamp images by just putting that die cut inside, already having the die cut stencil for it. I saw this from the Jennifer McGuire and I really love this technique, but you can go the traditional way also by just putting the stamps on your misty and stamping them and then die cut them. So either way, whatever works for you. If you're mass producing, then the first technique will do, and if you are doing some cards, then first technique will also do, depending on what you want to do. So most of the times in these cards I choose the fall color theme colors like the orange, green, yellows, and you can choose whatever you want. You can turn this kit into the Christmas kit, the same gomes you can color into red, green, and the traditional colors of the Christmas, and you can get that also. So let's jump into the coloring. So I stamped couple of more images just for in case I needed them, and then I started working on my card bases. So here I'm taking recollection 8.5 by 11-inch cardstock, and I'm cutting it vertically so that I can get the two tall cards. So most of the times what I did, I cut a paper in a two parts, and one I use for the card decoration, the front decorations and the putting them in, and another I will use as a card base, so that I have mix and match of all these colors. Most of the times I took the colors I love. Then I use this embossing folder which came in the my monthly kit, and it's like bigger than what the cardstock length is. So I just run through it the die cutting machine for embossing it, and this embossing folder gives us such a beautiful floral design with it. And then half of the part of the one side is that will not be covered in it, but you can see that how we can use that, and this way I finished with my card bases. Now let's start the coloring. So for coloring all these images, I decided to use Zig color markers. You can use, I choose the watercolor paper and watercolor marker this time, but you can use alcohol markers also. Make sure your ink and paper is compatible whatever medium you are using. So here, by inspiring all the theme, I use the orange, yellows and greens, most of the times little bit of brown, so that it will incorporate with the upcoming card bases colors. And I just decided to use the Winkazilla pen to add little bit of shimmer. You can use the Zig color markers blender also, and you will get a better result with that. But yeah, I like a little bit sparkle in my images, so I use a Winkazilla marker, so you can see the sparkle on these things. Now after coloring all the images, I just die cut them. Some of them I die cut with the color cardstock also, not the printing images, but I did that with some of the sentiment and some of the banners images. So I'll put it all in hand. So when you have lots of option, you can play with it rather than making a one card while your all stuff is out. It's like some smarter way to make more cards with that. So in total I made I think 15 cards, and this video is gonna become a bit longer. Still I try to edit them and cut it out them. So what I did, I make in two parts of the video, so make sure to watch the second part of the video also. Some of the images I colored today itself here I use for the second part in the video, and I try to give a like overall look, and I try to make a very simple cards, as basic as we can do. Some one layer cards, some like pop-up some just like a pop-up cards, some of them are like just a die cut, we're enhancing the die cut. So yeah, this way. So these are just the coloring, nothing special. You can use your alcohol markers to do that. And I think these combs are so cute. You can use them for any occasion, like you can make some Valentine Day cards with them, some Christmas card with them. You just have to, you know, color coordinate accordingly. Like today I'm using the yellows and oranges to make the, you know, the cap, the hat more like prominent. You can use the reds and greens, and you can put some of the gifts in front of him, and it will look like, oh wow, it's a Christmas card. You can use that coffee mug also, that small cute coffee mug, and this way you can create more things, or you can just put that gum in between and circle around the width of the all the pumpkins, so that it can be a one layer card by simple coloring way I'm doing, and just enhance the border with the distress inks. You can do that also. Here I'm coloring more than I needed, cause I think I will use some of them in the next part also, cause once my supplies is out I used to do that. Now I just took a little bit of water on the mat and just using the brush to, you know, move those colors in the images so that they will look more like diluted and illusion of the shadows. Always make one side is more darker than the other, but I didn't do pretty like more awesome coloring here. It's just a basic one, and the gums are like weird, like oh my god, that's the gray color is like oh my god, it's too much enhancing, and I loved it how it turned out. And that small little pie, sometimes I use the watercolor brush also to make it just more fluid running there, cause these paints inks are so saturated. So now I use this embossing folder again. Now this time I decided to little bit, you know, give a water sprinkle on it. I'm using Tim Holtz distress bottle, and I put one on each other so that I will get a more impression. Now here I'm not lining up them because it's a floral pattern. You can not going anywhere wrong with this, but yeah, if it's a stripe or circular or geometric pattern, you have to do that. So now I partially didn't embossed it. I just put little bit of part there. I've just put little bit of part there, and then I can put my stamping sentiment on that. So here I'm using the distress ink. I think I used the citrus oxide or some green. I didn't remember it, but whatever you are embossing, it gonna pop up that image, and that embossing folder gonna give that impression of embossed. And I'm using here embossed part, not the de-embossed part, and sometimes I just use those small cubes to color it to give them more vibrancy in the colors. And then I decided that which sentiment will look good on it, and kind of finding out the way of doing that. And then I cut out all my images to put on them, and these dies are come with the same monthly kit. And here I'm using this scallop border die, which is from I believe in MFT stamp, and I have it for a long time. And this and Simon Says Stitch dies I come again and again, maybe for every card or every two another card I'm using those. Now I'm just kind of putting this. I use this low tack tape, but I don't know why sometimes it's sticking on the stuff. So here I'm seeing my options that what should I do. I do this or I do that, and kind of this is again I want some of the images, so I decided to stamp more images in that. And sometimes it's happened that I have enough images, but still I want some more. For particularly that one, I don't have the particular image, so I just decided to do that. And then again I will color them, and then just fill them with the things. Now here I'm kind of finding out for the sentiments. These can come for the sentiments also, and I'm kind of placing it, seeing it, where should I place it, where should I not, before getting the estimate. I don't want to cut this process, I want to show you all the process, because this is the main thing while we make the cards, that how we put the things, rather than stamping and doing all the posh product to you. Showing yourself is like I didn't see anything learning in that. So I use here Misty because I want to stamp 1 or 2 times. And here is, I'm planning to do some 1 layer card, and I just stamp it, but I will show this card in the next thing because the ink is not dried at that time, so I didn't use at the same time, and I switched to the another card. But yeah, this is the very simple 1 layer card I made, and I use the small stuff, and you can create this card with any of the stamping images you have. You can use one, or you can add more than one to just to fill the card or the sentiment all around it. I just use the Misty to stamp it in exactly center by using the Misty grid. That is very important tool sometimes. And so then I decided to put the scallop frame there, and I cut out the panel from that plane, and I will use the rest of it for the another card and this front end for this card. So whatever we stamp, it's already dried. Now this ink is smudge proof. We can put our distress ink mixing blend here, and I'm just using the same colors for the fall theme and creating this image. Now you can create your background first, and you can stamp image on that also. Either way will do for you. Here I use all the small images and kind of making all around that sentiment. You can use the off-center also to create that kind of effect. Then I sprinkle a little bit of water to get that little bit of distress look, and tip it off with the paper. And then for enhancing those flowers, I use the same colors which I use for the distress mixing most of the times, like yellows and oranges and greens, to enhance those images more, because they are kind of blending inside it. I just want to them pop out. So rather than coloring the images and cutting them and sticking them, this is also another way to do the 1 layer card coloring. Here I can't say that it's so directly 1 layer, because I will stick this panel on the main card front. But what happened when you are doing everything on the main card front, you have to very much take care of the inks, like that they should not smudge here and there, or they put not smudge or put a stain in your main card stock. While doing this, I don't have to care about that. I don't have to mask anything. I just have to color, and then you can put all this stuff on the card front. Then here I am using a big foam tape to just enhance that panel on the, you can see the upper left hand of the corner. I'll put that there in. You can use fun foam also, and this is the way. So you can use your leftovers also, and you can see that small things like give a little bit of more difference in the card. So add your sparkles, add your small gems, whatever you would like to add. Then I just embossed it, and then this panel with the pattern paper, and then just putting the colors on them, kind of mixing and matching using the same cube, and then put it aside for drying. And we will jump into the before what we make with the distress inks. Now here I am stamping the sentiment, happy gomes kind of thing. And if you don't have those embossing folder And if you still want to get this kind of thing, you can use directly pattern paper, which is having the fall theme. Or if you don't want to do that, you can do the same thing, like you can make a stripe pattern, cross pattern, or zigzag pattern with the help of your scoring board, and you can use the ink cubes on them to get more catching of the inks. And yeah, you can do that. So when your ATG is not working, that means it's just full inside. So just remove the excess bundle, put it, just tear it apart with your fingers and just put it there again. I'm using ATG for the long time. I love this, although I have the liquid glues. Before that I used the Tombow, and yeah, but still I use the ATG. And then I don't know, it is happening again with me. So after putting all of this, I decided to put those gomes there, and then I'm kind of making kind of little bit of small scene that this wheelbarrow is in his hand, and all these pumpkins and flowers coming through the wheelbarrow falling down on the ground, something like that. So these are very quick cards. You can create a more beautiful card than this. I definitely says that you can put them on the ground, you can do many things. So here I'm sticking those flowers inside. And then for the next card, I partially emboss more than half of 3/4 of the card on in and out both. And then I'm putting this distress ink on these pumpkins, and then I will put these lines of the orange color the watercolor pen, and then I'm kind of using the Winkazilla to add. Oh my god, it's like it's a silver Winkazilla. I didn't realize that at the time, and then I was like, okay, it's too much shiny and like, but yeah, it's okay. But they are turned little bit brownish, so I will add more color after them. And then I decided to put the mean sentiment here. So again I'm using that Mystic Grid to put them in the straightening up the line. And then after that I just decided to add more Winkazilla on only the flowers. So you can use any embossing folder you have, and if you don't have, I already told you, you can create your own pattern with the scoring board. And sometimes this dies, they emboss also, so you can create an embossing effect with the dies also without that cutting, but just make sure the layering is perfect for that, because that everything matters is how you put your layering of the card in your die cutting machine. And then I add more orange because they become more gray with that silver Winkazilla pen. And then I add little bit of olive green to their stems. And yeah, so in this card I am using directly front. So look at this, I have too much careful, that's why I put the white paper below the card, so that ink will not go inside the card, it will stay in the front. But the same thing if I did with the another paper and then I stick it to it, it's more easy. But yeah, while using the directly card based thing, you have to take care of that none other inks or smudges or like marks goes inside your card. So yeah, this completes this card. And then we'll jump to another one. Here I'm kind of making layering for these cards. I already die cut out some leaves and their shadow parts here in brown and black color. This paper is called Inky Backgrounds, and if you don't have this paper, you can create your own paper by using the watercolors, watercolor markers, alcohol markers or inks, and let it dry and then cut. So the main concept of this die cuts are you have to stitch those leaves, put them on those shadow things, and then you have to stick them. I just avoid all of that. I just want some quick cards to give in hand. So I didn't do any stitching on these sections, like I didn't make any card with the stitching. But yeah, for enhancing those shadows on the craft card, I used another ink. Now you can see first I used the sponge dauber and it took a little bit more time, so then I just decided to go with the regular method, that I just pick up the things and use those small cubes. These small cubes are very handy while using these kind of techniques. This hello die also came in the kit, and then I put all of them like to get more darker on the edges. And don't be afraid, if something goes wrong, it's not wrong, because we're gonna anyway cover those with those stitch die cutouts. So this stitch die cutouts, I also put little bit color here. I decided to use the same color which I used in the card front, the green one. And then so what happened, if you don't have the pattern paper like me, you can use the regular colored cardstock, and you can add the ink like this to that cardstock. That will also work. So here you get a like 3D effect of that leaf. It's like heighted one, and I did for that all of these leaves. I just make sure that I press them hard so that they could stick nicely. But just imagine if you have a time and you can stitch all these things with the golden color or like multicolor embossing thread, it looks so nice. The embroidery thread will look so nice on him. I like those colors. And then I'm kind of figuring out that where should I put those images. I got little bit of the grid here, but yeah. And then I just decided to stamp my sentiment. So here I'm using again the Misty, and I will use the Wasafine ink, the clear embossing ink. I already used the anti-static powder before there, off the camera. It didn't catch in the camera. And then I use the Hero Arts white embossing powder, and then I just heat set it. Yeah, so it works very well with this image. Be thankful for the little things. And then I just fold the craft colored cardstock to make the card base of this. You can put a matting of green or brown color here, or black color will also do, dark brown or black. I just put it on there, and then I put all those leaves there by using the liquid glue. So here is the thing, like the cards I made is like very simple, and I want to make it pretty fast, so I did that. But in each card, if you put more efforts, it looks more awesome. Like here, if you put the golden thread in those leaves, it gonna make your card to the next level. But yeah, and for this image, so whenever I distress ink, put on the distress ink or any ink on the backgrounds or the leaves, I wait for some time, just because that it will dry and it will not smudge it on my hand, and when I do the work, I will not put it on the another project, or like the ruin any card base or something like that. Then I'm just formatting, I'm just putting the pencil marks, and then I'm cutting out those extra things, and then I will put all that in the front of that card. This time I'm using the fun foam. Fun foam are also the nice technique to put your cards. I already told you that I'm just hand delivering this card, so I'm not much concerned about their dimensions, that how 3D or like how they will go. So now this black color die cut out, just pop out that leaf images. So we use first 3 leaf images in the first card, and remaining of them we are using this card. So I put the acrylic block on them just to stick them together. Here I avoid to putting the foam dots, because we already put the fun foam behind the banner, so I don't want it to be more bulky and leery. And then this delicate hello die came in the kit with the shadow. I could use the same paper, like in same theme, the black and the colored one, the pattern paper, to put all that things together. And then yes, I just put it on there to stick them together. Then decided to use the green twine here. I use always to stick the twine. Most of the times I use the sellotape or this ATG gun. I think rather than the liquid glue, this works better. You can put this twine before you putting the fun foam also. And then I'll put a whole banner on the front of the card. And now this small black matting effect and the small black layering shadows of those sentiment as well as the leaf that pulls out our card together with the green color. So these are the small things which enhance your card and give more out of the time you spend. And then I put the foam dots, and then I'm kind of searching for the perfect layout for these leaves. So yeah, these leaves are kind of matching with the background as well as that card base. So these are the simple cards I made here. I'll show you some few more cards in the next video. Please watch that also. And thank you for all your love and support. If you like my channel, do subscribe it, and make sure to watch the next video. I will show a couple of images at the end of this video, that what we will make on the next video. And let me know if you want to see something else. I love to read your comments. Thank you for all your love and support, and until the next crafty video, have a crafty life. Bye bye and take care. Happy Thanksgiving.